Welcome back everybody, it is time for Runemaster. I have started my Runemaster builds and projects, and this time around we're gonna be talking about the first one. This is Fireclaw Ignite Runemaster. I have done a build guide for this in the past. It was not really optimized. I used it mainly as a transition build, get a little bit of early progressions, farm some blessings, and then move into endgame build. But right now in 1.0 we can make a very strong build out of it. So I thought I would present you with a build guide here. This compared to other Fireclaw builds is a much lower investment. We don't need a bunch of skill levels for our Fireclaw. We don't need to go overboard with our mana efficiency and mana regen, and we still get very good results. The build is extremely tanky. I'm farming at 500 corruption, fairly easy right now. You can push it even further if you wish. Let's get into some footage here that I have for you and see some gameplay, explain how we work on echoes and of course on bosses. If you do like this type of video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more content. And let's get started here with an echo. The playstyle of the build is fairly simple. We cast a couple of Fireclaws on in front of us. Everything gets ignited and we just flame rush through them. They die while we flame rush through them, and any loot that drops, it drops right there on our screen. It doesn't drop behind us, so it's very efficient for farming. We don't need to backtrack a lot for loot, which is very important, of course. Other than Fireclaw, of course, we are utilizing Rainwind's Frostguard from Runic Invocation. This is our one of our main damage mitigation layers on the build, and also provides us with a good amount of ward per second. The build is also utilizing a semi-low life setup. I'm using Hexagonus and a missing health on the gloves, missing health affix on our gloves. We don't need last steps. I'm going for other booties. We're gonna see them later in the planner. As you can see here, we're gonna do an Orobis fight. Fairly straightforward things on Orobis. When we are ramping up on Orobis, we are hitting about 120, 130k of damage over time ticks, which is very good, I think, at 500 corruption. You can boost your single target even further if you wish. I'm thinking that I'm fine with it right now, and everything that I do with the build, I'm very happy. Do hope that you enjoyed this build. Of course, I have a couple of extra farming sessions that I will be doing with it on my live streams, and I will be moving into a next Runemaster build. As you can see here, I'm even tanking this ability of Orobis. He put it in a bad spot. We don't care. We're gonna tank it. Just hit your flame guard, and you're gonna be extra tanky for a lot of hit abilities mainly. Damage over time, as per usual in last Epoch builds, it is a little bit of an issue, but because we do generate quite a bit of ward out of ward per second, and also from our casts as a Runemaster, we do tank a lot of damage over time abilities even at this corruption, and we can survive through it pretty well. We also gonna be showcasing, of course, a Black Sun monolith boss here. Black Sun as a timeline, it's not as easy to push as probably it was in the past with the new corruption changes. If you want to push as high corruption as you can, I definitely suggest Bloodfrozen Death. Bloodfrozen Death, in my opinion right now, is probably the easiest timeline to push corruption, and it does have quite good rewards. But as general lure for farming in general, you know, exalted items, just a bunch of uniques randomly dropping in the ground for you, I definitely suggest Bloodfrozen Death. I've already pushed a couple of times this timeline, so I decided to go for Black Sun and also give myself a little bit of a challenge. Now, to talk about the build a little bit further, I am choosing Flame Rush here as our movement skill because the new collision mechanics of 1.0 makes us so we get stuck by a lot. Any monster in front of you can actually block your movement, and I don't like that. With a Flame Rush, you can just go through them. It's a very fast skill. It's very good on its responsiveness right now after the 1.0 changes on everything that they've done with the engine. It's very fast. We have a good amount of cooldown recovery rate as well on the build, and On top of it, it does provide us with another layer of defense, a little bit of ward generation, and when you are passing through enemies, it also procs 5 fire threat resistance stacks. Very well, let's get into the planners and start explaining all the build together. I'm gonna be giving you 3 planners this time around. This is the initial setup, what you need to get the build going. I'm also gonna give you a little bit of a higher investment, but very achievable on Circle of Fortune as well, because Circle of Fortune and Merchant Guilds on the investment and on the types of items you can get have a little bit of a difference. So I'm gonna be giving you something that will definitely work on Circle of Fortune as well, and of course the planner of my own character as inspirational as I do per usual. Now let's start with the build. We're gonna go through the passives real quick. The passives don't really change from all the planners. As per usual, we do have progression here on our passives. Fairly straightforward on the mage. We are grabbing the intelligence. We are scaling as much intelligence as we can on the build. A little bit of extra damage, cast speed here, and of course the cooldown recovery rate for snap freeze is very good. Extra fire damage and ignite chance here. Let's get through the Sork. Straightforward, arcane momentum and intelligence. This is for cast speed, and this is just to stack more intelligence. The 4 points here on the mana cell are very flexible. You can do whatever you want with them. Just like with the 2 points here, we only need 8 for the cooldown recovery rate threshold, but you can get 10 for extra intelligence. Now, we are getting Sphere of Protection, of course. Every mage build should have that one. Extra cast speed from the Ancient Mana, Arcane Focus, and Mental Catalysis, more intelligence, and a little bit of extra ward generation. I'm also going for Transcendence here. This is extra health and ward per second. 36 ward per second with the threshold is very respectable, and the extra health does help our low life setup. Again, those are a little bit flexible points. You can get out of them. The build generates quite a bit of ward, so don't worry about it. We are getting Scribed Instruments. We are using a Scepter, 72% ward retention, and Indict of the Scion for extra ward generation. Frostclaw still doesn't lose the AoE tag as we all thought it would when you're taking Volley of Glass, so we are using Inscribed Instruments. I'm going 3 points here for the extra cast speed and the movement speed when we're using our Flame Rush. It's a little bit of a nice quality of life for our eco farming. 5 points on the degree of burning width for the more damage to bosses and rares, and the elemental penetration for damage over time. Now, because I mentioned a few flexible points, if you wish, you could maybe get 4 points here, just a little bit extra ward generation. We are gonna have about 20-25% crit on the build. It's nothing too insane, but there are other points that you can get. You can go for more Ignite Chance, and there is a little bit of mana regen here that doubles with our intelligence if you need more mana. Let's go through the blessings real quick. I'm going for armor on Spirits of Fire and Edge of Winter. Especially on Edge of Winter is very important. We don't have a lot of strength, we don't have a lot of increased armor, so our armor scaling comes from this blessing, and it's very good. We are choosing Reign of Dragons for our resistances here, and Black Sun is a little bit flexible. You can go Void Resistance. If you cover that with your gear, you can go for the flat health that it has. And in the Storms, also flexible blessing. You can go for the ward decay threshold, you can go for the ward per second, and line resistance if you need it, but I don't think you need it. Flat mana is not that good on that build, but I prefer the ward decay threshold personally. We are scaling a decent amount of ward decay threshold, and it's very important so that your ward per second actually gets activated a little bit higher on your ward pool. It provides you with a little bit of a secret hidden, you know, EHP there. Now, let's get to the initial gear that you need. We are using Fire Standard Torch. Tier 6 minus mana cost is the minimum that you require for this build, and of course a little bit of cast speed. We're gonna be talking about a higher investment Fire Standard Torch on the next planner. Calamity, a lot of Ignite Chance. We are going for Exsanguinous as I mentioned, and Soulfire. is another one for high ignite chance. You can get about 160-170% ignite chance out of this relic alone. Very, very good. And again, it's very easy to drop it, very easy to get LP on it. Swallowing of the Erased is an optional thing. It's just something that you can get very easily. And if you roll cast speed intelligence, there are so many affixes that they're gonna be useful here for you. So anything good, you can use them early on without a lot of investment. Fiery Dragonsus for the ignite penetration is very, very good. They also have really high movement speed, and we can add movement speed on top of it. Also, they cap us on our crit avoidance, reduce the damage taken from critical strikes, and of course we have a little bit extra here because we are using a catalyst, so you don't have to worry about that one. Opulent Focus is definitely the best base when it comes to catalysts for this build. Cast speed and damage over time. I have some other things here. Elemental damage over time, intelligence and life on our ivory rings. Again, I'm going ivory rings. Necrotic resistance, very easy capped, and also World Decay threshold. Very, very nice addition to 1.0 item bases. Health and cooldown recovery rate as exalt affixes are both fine on your belt. Get a belt, either Praetorian or the coin mail for the flat armor on the belt, and bone amulet just to help us a little bit with the physical resistance. Remember that you cannot roll suffix physical resistance on your offhand catalyst, so you need to put it on one of the rings. I have some suffixes open here so that you can fit the rest of your resistance, but as you can see, it's not very hard to do so, right? Now, let's get into the skills as well. Now, in this type of investment, we don't do anything crazy with our Frostclaw. We just go in Celestial Conflux just to proc our Elemental Novas. We are traveling down here on the Volley of Glass, and we are converting it into fire. This is also Frozen Rain minus mana cost, and also we are getting Silver Cell here for the extra ward generation. This is a very, very straightforward and easy setup for your Frostclaw. You will have zero mana issues with this setup. We are going into Elemental Nova, and we are traveling down here. This is Ignite Chance, very important to max out. Infernal Nova on top of it, and then we are going here for the more damage multiplier. This is a very high more damage multiplier, and we need it. This one will increase your mana cost. In any case that you might somehow have any mana issues, you take those points off and you put them down here so that you can reduce the mana cost and you're gonna be good to go. Flame Ward, alright. We need to talk about Flame Ward because it has been brought up on my streams and I've seen a couple of things that I don't like. When you're playing a mage with Flame Ward, you either traveling to get your +1 charge or you're getting a +1 charge on your body armor. You always need 2 charges minimum on your Flame Ward. Otherwise, it's a very, very bad defensive layer. It's gonna be inconsistent and you're gonna die a lot. Alright, now that we get that out of the way, we are traveling here, as I said before, dual edges, and then we are going right here to convert it into cold. This is very important. As you can see, we actually do it fairly fast on our first 10 levels, 11 levels, right? You can do it even faster and go for dual edges afterwards because we need cold, fire, cold on our skill bar. I'm gonna talk about it on the Runic Invocation in a little bit. We're converting into cold, as I said, and we're getting a bunch of flat armor out of it. Make sure that you're getting as much points as you can here. Elemental damage taken, definitely max this out. This one we only hit 2 points. You can put more on barrier. I'm gonna leave that up to you. I like the flat armor personally. If you're consistent on your Flame Ward usage, it will be better. If you're not, then less hit damage might actually be the case for you. Runic Invocation. As I said before, we are using Raywind's Frostguard. This is 30% less damage taken from all abilities, hits and damage over time. Very, very powerful, and we also get a lot of ward burst and ward per second that they scale with our intelligence. We're traveling to Immutable Order, so we are locking our Runic Invocation that we only cast Raywind's Frostguard. That requires us to have Cold, Fire, Cold on our skill bar. I have Cold, Fire, Cold here just so that it is very easy to understand how you should be setting up your skill bar so that you're getting the correct invocation after you converted your flame ward to cold. Alright? We're getting cooldown recovery rate, and we are also getting this buff here. 3 points are enough for 100% uptime. It gives us a little bit of extra cast speed. Anywhere we can get extra cast speed, we are. We are traveling to the runic energy things, and this is just to make it so sometimes our burst ward that we're getting out of Frostguard, it doubles. It's not a huge deal, but it helps a little bit, so why not? Arcane Battery is not even that useful, but we take it nonetheless. Flame Rush, fairly straightforward Flame Rush tree right here. Mana efficiency and cooldown recovery rate. We are getting all the buffs for damage taken, less damage taken, and ward per second. Max out your frenzy for 2 seconds, extra cast speed, and as I said before, fire threat stacks when we're passing through. It's 5 of them, it's quite good. You would have to sacrifice your flat armor blessing for fire threat stacks, and I don't like doing that. I'm gonna leave that up to you. I like this setup a lot more. Now that we are done with the skills, let's get into the higher investment build planner a little bit here. I'm gonna talk what kind of affixes we need into the planner. Let's quickly go through the idols first. Important part. So we are using 2 ornate idols with that prefix right there. That's the most important part. Ignite duration as much as close to 25% as you can get. Fire damage over time as suffix, very good. We are using 2 of those. 2 stouts with health as affixes, and the grand glasses, those are not mandatory. It's just the higher damage idols that you can get on the build, but you can use humble for vitality and extra resistances if you need extra resistances at the start of your build. Don't worry about those. Those are the most important part, and the prefix especially. Get some ignite duration because it's something that we are lacking as a Runemaster. Very important for your single target so you can stack more ignites. Alright, we got that out of the way. Let's go to the higher investment planner. Now I have a couple of legendary items here. I'm gonna walk you through what kind of affixes you need to prioritize. We're gonna start with the Firestar Stores. Firestar Stores tier 7 minus mana cost is the first thing that we need here. The reason why, because when we get tier 7 minus mana cost on our Firestar Stores, we go down here and we are going on through the snow. We are getting a second cast of Frostclaw behind it, and the elemental novas that proc, they can proc from both casts and they overlap. That gives you a lot more clear and better single target, of course. Once you get into this setup, keep in mind that you probably will need a little bit of minus mana cost here. And this is a balancing thing. Depending on what kind of gear you are playing with, you might have a little bit more mana regen than I do, or a little bit different idols. That's up to you. But keep in mind, this one is increasing cost, this one is decreasing cost. So play a little bit with those points. If you don't need the mana reduction at all, you can still go Arcana Elementorum for more damage and more area. Everything else is same when it comes to skills on this planner and the passives. Let's go through the gear and finish up. Calamity, most important part, tier 6 or tier 7 ignite chance with fire skills and intelligence. Those 2 are the first 2 prefixes that you would like. If you happen to find a 3LP Calamity, health, increased health or flat health, very good for our low life setup. We're gonna go with Soulfire, tier 7 cast speed, the most important part here. As a second prefix, increased elemental damage over time or intelligence. I prefer increased elemental damage over time. And on the suffixes, if you have a 3LP, you go for health and frailty. Either of them, you hit them, you are happy with them, and you don't need to put frailty on your bone amulet if you do so. Alright? And Exanguinus, 1LP Exanguinus, tier 6 or tier 7, increased health. If you have more LP on your Exanguinus, you try to get tier 5 intelligence and tier 5 chance to ignite as a prefix as well. When it comes to Fiery Dragon Shoes, 1LP, fairly straightforward, just movement speed. We want a little bit extra movement speed out of Fiery Dragon Shoes. If you have 2LP of them, try to hit intelligence, hybrid life or cooldown recovery rate. one of the three is still very good. I prefer intelligence because we are scaling our ward retention, our ward generation, and our damage with intelligence. Other than that, I haven't changed any other things from exalted items on the build except Eternal Gauntlets. Eternal Gauntlets are the best base you can get. The armor mitigation to damage over time, even if it's a small percent that we'll be getting, it's still important. Get tier 6 or tier 7 cast speed. You can craft with a Glyph of Insight the missing health experimental affix, and this is our second missing health affix on the build to get the low life setup completed. Suffixes, just straightforward health and health. Other than that, I am changing a couple of things on the idols here. I want Throne of Ambition, more damage, more armor. This drops from Stolen Lands, fairly easy to farm it. We are using only one ignite duration this time around. We do have a lot more ignite chance from our gear right now, so we can drop it to one ignite duration and another grand class here if you have it. Most importantly, we are changing our large arcane idols here. Fire penetration with ignite and elemental resistances. If you cover your elemental resistances from your gear, you can get life as a suffix. The blessings do remain the same. And just a quick note, I'm gonna show you the endgame setup that I have gone through. Of course, for LP Fire Starter stores, you can drop that on Circle of Fortune, but on Merchants Guild it's fairly easy to acquire. They did go up quite a bit right now, they're probably around 6 to 8 mil, but prices, fluctuate a little bit. If you get something like that, tier 7 minus mana cost again, the most important part, and cast speed, fire pen, and ignite the rest of your affixes. Cast speed and fire pen are the two most important other than the tier 7. So ignite chance only if you have 4 LP. Fire penetration is actually better if you have 3 LP fire starter stores, which is very easy to drop as 3 LP. Now, on my final setup, I am going for Epoch of Thought. Epoch of Thought provides us with a grand amount of ward decay threshold and a couple of levels on our buff skills, but most importantly, we get 45 to 50% on a decent roll on our ignite duration, right? This is very, very important. This allows me from about 650 ignites to stack about 800, 850 or even 900 on a single target, which is really good. I'm capping my DOT damage as much as I can on single target, and it's very, very good. It does help during echoes a little bit, although it's a little bit of a weird interaction because your ignites take a little bit longer to kill them sometimes, but I like it. I did buy a 3LP Epoch of Thought. I did hit my slam first time, and this was the first 3LP that I hit on the cycle on the first time. I'm extremely happy about it, so I'm using it. If you like it, go for it. It's definitely much less expensive than Crest of Unity. It's another option. I'm personally liking a little bit more the Epoch of Thought, and if you want to test out Crest of Unity, that's up to you. Crest of Unity is very, very good. Here it gives us a lot of things. We get a lot of penetration, but it is also a much more expensive option, and the slams are gonna cost you quite a bit. I do have 2LP Hexagonus, Intelligence, and Tier 7 Life, as I said previously. And 2LP Fiery Dragon Shoes, those on Merchants Guild are not very expensive. You can slam as many of them as you wish until you hit something good like that. And 3LP Soulfires, as I said before. Nothing changes when it comes to idols or passives or skills. I think that is it. We covered everything. I do like this build. I do like farming with it a lot. And I'm gonna be doing a couple of more farming sessions until I swap into another build. I will catch you in the next one, and remember, if you have any questions, drop them in the comment below or drop by my live streams. I'm always happy to answer your questions. Thank you very much, guys. Bye bye.